Defensive end Stephon Tuitt has retired after 8 seasons in the NFL, all 8 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Hike, considering that 2020 was his best season as a Steeler, 11 sacks. And we saw last season, we talk about it all the time, Steelers were dead last in the NFL in rushing yards allowed in the 2021 season. Tuitt did not play. This is a player that the Steelers are going to dearly miss now that he's decided to hang it up.
Yeah, he was Tuitt was just different. You know, I remember playing with Tuitt. Tuitt was one of the first ones that can get up the field off a few steps. You know, he was slippery. He was greasy. You know, we used to say Tuitt used to have some oil on him because, man, he'll slip for his size, Mark. He's a tall guy. For his size, he could slip in or outside of guards and tackles and get up the field ASAP. So between him and Cam, you know, that was a good complimentary, not only draft pick, but just a good 1-2 punch sitting up inside. It's a reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers for a while had led the league in sacks. I'm talking about with interior linemen because of Cam and Tuitt. So that was just good. That was just, you know, good to see Tuitt do that. Then Tuitt wound up having some personal issues. You know, his brother had died, and it was real close. So that kind of bothered him. He took some time off. Gracefully, Pittsburgh let Tuitt take some time off. You know, you go to any other organization, I don't know if they would have let you take that time off and still paid you as well. You know, but Tuitt needed that time off. He had some time to reflect, and he went back to Notre Dame, got his degree, and he felt like, you know what, I think I done did enough in football. 8 years was enough for me. Right now it's time for me to move on, take care of my family, and just see what else is out there. So that's one thing I do like a lot about this generation. Mark, they'll check their bank accounts. Once they check their bank accounts, they'll have other avenues on making money as well. And they choose their family over football once they get to that certain situation. So they're not like the old generation where we played, you know, 12, 15 years. You know, these guys, when it comes down to money and knowing what to do with their money and also just finding different avenues, that's exactly what they do. They're wide open. They're not closed-minded. So I think over the past couple of 4-5 years, we done seen a lot of young guys retire early, you know, and I love it. They don't have to play, you know, double-digit years. So for me, just seeing Tuitt, you know, coming to a conclusion, Pittsburgh giving him the time and the grace, and he was like, you know what, it's about time for me to move on. I'm happy for Tuitt. Because for me, man, you always, my personal opinion, I think everybody should be happy. And Tuitt did everything he needed to do, not only as an NFL player, but just coming to the city of Pittsburgh and handling his business and making a name and impacting the city as how he plays. So much love to Tuitt. Success on your next venture in life. I know you got avenues. Congrats on getting a degree at Notre Dame, and prayers to you and your family forever.
Yeah, I know he was trying to work his way back from a knee injury. He had surgery on that early in the 2021 season. It was always, when's Tuitt coming back? When's Tuitt coming back? And I know when there was media availability with head coach Mike Tomlin, that was something that reporters would consistently ask him about. And so we now have an answer. And again, coming off his best season as well in
Correct.
2020. And it's a player who we don't always talk about, Ike. I know when we talk about the front seven, the two players we really hone in on are TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. And This was a player that the Steelers really, really missed this last season. And that was evident. It showed not just on the field, but statistically as well. Now, I'll say this. You mentioned the players retiring early. The two players that immediately came to my mind, Ike, were Andrew Luck and Luke Kuechly at the top of their game when they retire. And people are like, wait a second, why now? And like you said, it's this new school of thought where it's like, you know, I've gotten what I need to out of football and I can go pursue other endeavors in life. And you're seeing this more and more and more frequently, in my opinion, whereas in the past, it was like, how long can you hang on? Because we all know what the NFL stands for, not for long, just given the average career span of most players.
Yeah, I think Luke Kuechly, though, Mark, was a different situation. I think he kind of had to because Luke was getting concussed a lot. So, you know, football kind of made him shut it down early. And yes, you were right. He was at the top of his game. If anybody can just go back and YouTube Luke Kuechly, man, if you ain't understand the quarterback on defense, that was exactly him. He already beat the play before the play started. That was Luke Kuechly. His IQ was unbelievable. His instincts was out of this world. When it comes down to Andrew, like, you know what, man, I probably just lost the love. And I get it. I've done everything I needed to do. I want to be able to play and enjoy my kids, my family. I don't want to walk around hurt all day, every day. I think I done took enough hits as well. Let me go ahead and shut it down. So that's what these kids now, these young men, I'm sorry, I don't want to say kids. These young men aren't fighting through injuries for the sake of just playing football. They're finding different avenues, and they're taking care of their money, and they getting out when they want to, which is something I love to see.
Several Steelers are going to need to step up now, Ike. And I remember leading up to April's draft, we thought that the Steelers might take a player like a Jordan Davis, his Georgia teammate, Wyatt along the defensive line to shore up the defensive line. Now, I know the Steelers later in the draft got DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M, but he's one of several players who's going to need to step up now because Tyson Alualu will be back, but he's 35 years old. Isaiah Loudermilk, Chris Wormley, Montravius Adams as well. They're going to have to step up to fill that void that Tuitt leaves. And I'm not going to lie to you, Ike, like this kind of hurts from the standpoint of like you're losing a very, very good player in Stephon Tuitt along that front seven. So it's like in this league, it's next man up, but I can't help but think of, don't get me wrong, like I'm very happy with Kenny Pickett with the selection in the first round, getting the quarterback of the future. But this is why we were having those conversations leading up to April's draft of the front seven, something that you have to shore up, not just because it was a problem last year, but look across the division, look at Cleveland, look at Baltimore, two smash mouth football teams that can consistently run the football, control the clock, and just impose their will on the game. And so I'm looking to those other players to step up now that Tuitt has decided to retire.
Yeah, since 2-11, I can see the Pittsburgh Steelers going more towards a 4-3 than a 3-4. You got to use big bodies like Tyson in the inside. So I think Tyson will take two. They'll just want Tyson a little lower just to push the pocket, so say. They'll let Cam get vertical whenever he wants to. So you sign Miles Jack out of free agency, so you let Miles kind of be Miles. You kind of let them roam around. Hopefully Devin can go back to the rookie year, Devin. And Devin can roam around too and just read and react off of plays. And hopefully he's lost some weight in his speed and he's back to close to 100% as of a couple of years ago. That's how I look at it. TJ Watt. So say TJ Watt, they'll let TJ Watt just be TJ Watt, but from a 4-3 perspective. So I think they'll go more for a 4-3 than a 3-4 because right now I don't know if they have the 3-4 personnel to do it. I think they'll try it out during the preseason in training camp. But I think it'll be a good hybrid defense. But I think for the most part on what Coach T's just known for, what he's known for from the Tampa 2 when he won the Super Bowl, then he went and he had the number 1, number 2 defense between us two when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. He was defense coordinator. He was running that Tampa 2. So I think they'll go back to the Tampa 2, but they'll tweak it to make it a Pittsburgh Tampa 2/3-4. I'm sure they'll come up with a name for it from that defensive scheme. But the personnel, from my just personal opinion, it says 4-3 instead of 3-4. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of 4-3 going on, twisting stunts with the defensive end and the outside linebacker. So yeah, it's a whole lot of that going on. And plus, you done picked up a head coach and Brian Flores as one of your assistants on defense, so that's a steal. So I think personally, Mark, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go more towards a 4-3 than a 3-4. We will see at the end of the season how many snaps they did that.
Brian Flores as the cheat code is what they're saying. I'm listening to what the players are saying, Ike, in terms of his coaching ability, his savviness, and specifically shoring up that front seven. You've been on this shift from the 3-4 to the 4-3 defense for weeks now, Ike. So The listeners and the viewers of this show, Ike has said this repeatedly when it comes to fruition, when we get into OTAs, training camp, preseason, regular season. You heard it here first on the Bleav in Steelers show, courtesy of Psychic Ike Taylor. Ike, before we move on, there are a lot of free agents available along the interior defensive line. Is there someone you want to see the Steelers get? I can read you a list of names. Let me know how you want to go about doing this. But is there someone out there who is available as a free agent that you'd like to see the Steelers target? Let me know. I've got a list of names if you'd like me to read them off.
Give me a few names, Mark.
All right. Eddie Goldman played with the Chicago Bears. Brandon Williams has been with the Ravens. Ndamukong Suh, who's played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 35 years old. Suh is.
All right, though. Ndamukong Suh, bro, will fit perfect.
Yeah.
If the Pittsburgh Steelers want to go to a 4-3. You know, so you have a veteran guy. Tyson Alualu is coming off an injury, correct? Mm-hmm. You have a veteran guy who can step in and just already can fill the spot, and he already got a nasty attitude when it comes down to playing football. That's exactly what you want as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Somebody who can help Cam Hayward out and take the load off of Cam. So Cam won't have to play every snap, every game anymore if you get the Ndamukong Suh. And now you got depth at a defensive tackle situation or / defensive end situation. Depending on if you want to go a big front, you can have Ndamukong Suh, you can have Tyson, you can have Cam as a DN and put TJ Watt as the other DN, and we just gonna roll, depending on the personnel. So it's a lot of mixes you can do if you pick up Ndamukong Suh. It's just at what price, what's the cost. That's the only thing we're looking for. We want to know what Ndamukong Suh, how much he wants, you know. So time will tell with that. But for me, you didn't have to go too far down that line of free agencies. And Ndamukong Suh would fit perfect. And that's one of the reasons why, because the Steelers need help at defensive line, and you're getting a veteran guy, a Super Bowl veteran guy who knows how to win and plays exactly how you want to play football. And that's nasty.
Steelers have about $20 million in salary cap space, so they could make it happen. And I love the old man strength on the offensive line that you would have, considering that Cam, Alualu, and Ndamukong Suh are all past the age of 30. But that, and then it's saying with DeMarvin Leal, your rookie draft pick, it's like, look, we can keep all of you guys fresh, but if you're not playing up to the standard, we're going to rotate the other guy in, keep everyone fresh. But it's like, who's going to play the best ball to stay out on the field? And it's not like you're saying, hey, Ndamukong Suh, we need you on every single snap. I think he'd be able to better focus and allocate his energy towards he's not having to play all 4 downs. You could sub him in and out. You can do it based on series, but you could keep those guys fresh just to bring in one other established player to help fortify the interior of that defensive line, and specifically at the line of scrimmage, Ike, in the A and B gaps. It's going to be so important last year, because if there was one hole that the Steelers had last season and they were able to overcome it, you're not going to have success in this league if teams can run the ball at will on you, and they need to make sure that is shored up this upcoming season. No,
that's exactly what happened last year. Once a team can run on you, they just control the game, control the clock. And they're able pretty much to go any, many, money, mo on plays they want to, because they have the running game going. So that's something the Pittsburgh Steelers will address or need to address this offseason and this year on stopping the run.
Omar Khan, the money man, get a favorable deal done with Ndamukong Suh. I'm just speaking this into existence. 3 other names I want to mention. Larry Ogunjobi, who was supposed to go to the Bears. Longtime Bengals defensive lineman, did not pass his physical. He's still out there. Sheldon Richardson's still out there. Gerald McCoy is still out there. So there are talented players. Ike, I think you have some savviness there saying, what's the price point? I think that's probably going to be most important to see how the Steelers shore that up, or if they decide to roll with the players that they have.